let's just talk a little bit about digital transformation. I think you set it up well around the acceleration we're seeing in the industry. Clearly, years of digital transformation are getting done in months now, and we've seen that happen this year. But one of the really striking things about this revision of digital transformation is the fact that actually it's business transformation. It just happens to be enabled by digital. And I think that's sort of the lens that really allows us to unpeel the layers of what's going on. I thought I might take a crack at just actually unpeeling that for you. And I think there's three big legs upon which this digital transformation initiative, this sort of cross-industry phenomena is built on. And they are, number one, the journey to automation and hyper-automation. I'll come back to that. Number two, digital data and analytics is now becoming core to how we run business. We'll come back to that as well. And the third one is the area of the future of work, the collaboration that's required across these dispersed groups we now work with, the experience that we need to deliver to really be able to get for sticky experiences, and then the whole continuum of the man-machine frontier, and as that expands, how we take advantage of that. And so that's the third one. I just want to comment on one thing, that each of those three trends are actually business trends. The journey to hyper-automation is actually a business trend, but it happens to be supported by technology trends. Let's pick that first one and unpeel that. So I think the journey to hyper-automation, this business need of delivering new capability in the new normal, this ability to persist, to have the resilience, to build the new functionality, and to grow in the post-pandemic age, actually fundamentally requires a backplane, the ability to deliver quick functionality in a time-to-market fashion that's almost unprecedented. And really to do that, that's the business need. Really to do that, we need some technology, and there are three trends that are driving and feeding that business need. The first one is the whole move to cloud. Cloud and hyperscale scalar technologies, obviously they're more efficient and they're economic, and some of the economic components have been well known for a while. But the biggest thing we're getting now is that our ability to deliver new capability using a cloud backbone, and then using this notion of composable services, these building blocks of life, if you will, the kernel of how things get put together. So no longer do we write from scratch. We're assembling different composable services into composite functionality. We're using that to go address the new needs, and that's another big trend. And I think the third component of that journey to hyper-automation is AI. Clearly, cognitive capability is getting to the point where it's super usable. Extraction is above human grade. Translation is at human grade. Finding weak links and large data sets is well above human grade. And so when you start applying these capabilities, we end up hyper-automating. We end up actually covering the last leg of the journey we've been on for 20, 30 years now. And so that's the first big business need and the three technology trends that drive that. I think the second one we're consistently seeing across the industry, and certainly a lot of it in insurance, is this focus on data and analytics and making it core to the way business gets done. First things first, data is no longer a third-class citizen. It is not a byproduct of automation. It doesn't happen to just be sitting there. Data is now elevated to a first-class citizen in most corporations we engage with, we work with, we speak with. And so to be able to do that, you need to actually build the right foundation. You have to have the vertical stack put together that allows you to introspect, to collect, to ingest, and to manage all of the data. And the key, we think, on successful doing that is actually thinking about it from a consumption perspective, not from an ingestion perspective. In other words, the goal is not to just put everything together in one place so we may use it when we might need it. The goal is to think through how you're going to use it and then design it back from that consumption end. So data stack, and then we think about all of the work that happens around connected ecosystems. I mean, one of the things the pandemic has taught us is none of us are living on an island. We're interconnected in ways that we knew but didn't really feel as sharply as we do today. And to instrument those the telemetry, to be able to understand that and get all of the data in, is another big initiative that we see happening across the world. And then you finally get to analytics, and you get to neural nets and the advances we're seeing come through to unlock a lot of the dark data, to be able to drive the insights. And we think now, going forward, the world of data analytics is fundamentally different. It's actually core to business. And data has become a first-class citizen. The third business trend I talked about was the idea of the future of work. Look, all of us are in a home working environment right now. All of us are working in dispersed locations from different offices, home offices, etc. And I don't think this is one of those things that will stop the day we get the vaccine out. I think there's a piece of this that continues. And I think corporations are are getting up and thinking that actually the ability to have a dispersed leadership team, dispersed management team, allows us a level of flexibility and protection in the long run that makes sense. But how do you distribute work in this new environment? How do you think about a blueprint of work that has orchestration, that has workflow around human-centered design, that allows us to cross-navigate this resource pool and get best results? And then, by the way, how do you do it with the experience that allows it to be sticky? One of the things we've learned in the last 2 years is that as we do digital transformation engagements, experience has become the true north. It's become the compass. It's become the driving consideration and when we make trade-off decisions. And that changes the perspective on how we implement it. And then finally, coming back to home, look, all of us are thinking through this man-machine frontier, this advancement of AI, automation getting to the next level. And what does that do to our employee base in their ability to extract the maximum value and to put this amazing ammunition that we have to great use, to be able to do things with it? And that requires skilling, cultural change, adoption, just management of all of that. So then the components of future work that we think a lot about, and I think that this whole journey to hyper-automation, the focus on data analytics becoming core, and then finally this notion of the future work, and it's here to stay now, are the three sort of legs upon which this digital transformation is coming off of. And we're seeing tremendous acceleration, as you said, Sasha, across the board.